stop everything. I'm about to reveal why the most dominant, cold-weather predator on Earth has never set foot on the coldest continent. We're talking about polar bears and Antarctica. And guys, this isn't just some random geography. Trivia, this is an evolutionary mystery that will literally flip your brain inside out. Here's what's about to go down in the next 12 minutes. First, I'll expose why Antarctica, this frozen wasteland, literally covered in ice and penguins, has never had a single wild polar bear in over 4 million years of bear evolution. Not one, ever. And trust me, the reason will shock you. Then, I'm running the most brutal simulation Patrick's Arena has ever done. We're dropping a 1,500-pound apex predator into enemy territory and watching what happens day by day. Spoiler alert, it gets dark, really dark. And finally, this is the part that made my jaw hit the floor. I'll reveal the prehistoric seal-eating monsters that did rule Antarctic waters millions of years ago, and why they make polar bears look like teddy bears. I'm Patrick. This is Patrick's Arena, and you're about to understand more about biogeography than 99% of people on this planet. Let's get into it. All right, let's talk about polar bears. Ursus maritimus, the sea bear. These animals are biological masterpieces. We're looking at 1,500 pounds of pure Arctic domination. When they stand up, they're 10 feet tall. That shoulder hump, pure muscle designed for crushing seals like soda cans. But here's the fact that breaks everyone's brain. Polar bears evolved from brown bears only about 600,000 years ago. That's relatively recent in evolutionary terms. Like, really recent. Genetic studies show they diverged when some brown bears in Siberia decided ice hunting was the way to go. Now pause and think about this. Antarctica has been frozen for 34 million years. That's 34 million years of ice, snow, and brutal cold. But polar bears, they've only existed for 600,000 years. Do the math. Antarctica was a frozen wasteland for over 33 million years, before polar bears even existed. But wait, it gets crazier. Even if polar bears evolved earlier, they'd face an impossible problem: geography. The Arctic is a frozen ocean surrounded by land. Antarctica is a frozen continent surrounded by ocean. Between them, thousands of miles of tropical and temperate waters that would cook a polar bear alive. You know, that thick blubber layer that keeps them warm in 40° Arctic weather? In warm equatorial waters, that becomes a death sentence. It's like wearing a winter coat in Death Valley. Your body literally can't dump heat fast enough. Evolution basically said, nope, you're staying north. And Antarctica? It evolved its own completely different cast of characters. But here's where we fire up the Patrick's Arena simulation. What if, somehow, a massive male polar bear got swept up in a freak ocean current and landed on Antarctic ice, not through human interference, just pure bad luck? What happens next? Day 1, the landing. Our bear, let's call him Atlas, hauls his exhausted body onto an Antarctic ice shelf after swimming for days. He's burned through massive energy reserves, but he's alive. He shakes off the water, and immediately something feels wrong. The ice under his feet different. In the Arctic, he's walking on sea ice, frozen ocean with seals underneath. Here, this ice is land ice, over 1,000 meters thick, with nothing but rock underneath. It's a frozen desert. Atlas sniffs the air. His sense of smell can detect seals from over a mile away in the Arctic. But here, the scent trails are all wrong. Different species, different behaviors. Everything his 4 million years of bear evolution prepared him for, useless. Day 2 Amive, the false paradise. Then Atlas reaches the coast and hits what looks like the jackpot, a penguin colony with thousands of birds. And these penguins, they waddle right up to him. Zero fear. In their entire evolutionary history, they've never seen a land predator like this. It's a massacre. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Atlas is eating 20, maybe 30 penguins a day. He should be thriving, right? Wrong. And this is where the biology gets absolutely brutal. The Starvation Paradox. Here's the fact that seals Atlas's fate. Literally, polar bears cannot survive on lean protein. Their entire metabolism is built around one thing: seal blubber. That 10-centimeter thick layer of fat on Arctic seals, that's rocket fuel for polar bears. It's so energy dense that one seal can fuel a bear for a week. Penguins? They're lean muscle. It's like trying to heat a mansion with birthday candles. Sure, you're burning something, but it's not nearly enough. Let me break down the horrifying math. Atlas needs about 12,000 calories per day just to maintain his body temperature and mass in Antarctic cold. A penguin gives him maybe 500, 800 calories, so he's eating 20 penguins daily, filling his stomach until it's bursting. But he's still starving to death. His ribs start showing by day 7. His movements slow down by day 10. That thick blubber layer that kept him alive, it's melting away because his body is cannibalizing its own fat reserves for fuel. It's one of nature's cruelest jokes, surrounded by food but dying of starvation. Day 8 to 12, the desperate hunt. Atlas needs real food. He needs blubber. And then he spots it. A Weddell seal hauled out on the ice. Finally, this is what he's built for. He begins his stalk, using every technique the evolution gave him. Slow approach, wind in his face. Pause silent on the ice. But as he moves closer to the water's edge, something else is watching him. Meet the real boss. A shape erupts from the water. Sleek, serpentine, and absolutely massive. A leopard seal. And this thing is not happy about the new guy muscling in on its territory. Let's break down this matchup, because this is where Atlas learns a hard lesson about home field advantage. The invader, polar bear, about 500 pounds of muscle, avarm, 4-inch non-retractable claws, 160 psi bite force, devastating paw swipes that can shatter bones. Starving, exhausted, completely out of his element. The defender, Leopard Seal, Willima 300 pounds of pure aquatic aggression. Jaws that open 160 degrees, faster than a human on land, torpedo in water. Home field advantage, not starving. On solid ice, far from water, Atlas wins. Those claws and that raw power would overwhelm the seal. But here's the problem. Seals don't hang out far from water. They're always within diving distance. That's survival 101 for them. The leopard seal has a strategy Atlas has never encountered. Hit and retreat. Lunge from the water. Deliver a devastating bite. Then disappear back underwater before Atlas can counter. It's guerrilla warfare, and Atlas, the ultimate individual hunter, has no answer for it. After 2 attempted attacks, Atlas backs off. He's burned even more energy, might have some bite wounds, and he still hasn't eaten real food. Day 14-16, the downward spiral. By 2 weeks in, Atlas is in serious trouble. His body temperature regulation is failing. That blubber layer that insulated him, nearly gone. He's shivering constantly now, burning the last of his reserves just to stay warm. He tries hunting more penguins, but he's too slow now. They scatter before he can get close. Even the easy food is becoming impossible. The biological truth. So what actually kills Atlas? Not the leopard seal. Not the cold, not even the starvation directly. It's the fundamental incompatibility between Arctic and Antarctic ecosystems. Let me explain why this matters. The Arctic Ocean is rich. Phytoplankton blooms feed zooplankton, which feed fish, which feed seals, which feed polar bears. It's a food chain where every link is packed with fat-rich organisms. Antarctica? The food web runs on krill, tiny crustaceans. Krill feed everything: penguins, seals, whales, but krill-based food chains produce leaner animals. Even Antarctic seals have less blubber than Arctic seals because the prey base is different. Atlas is an engine designed for premium gasoline trying to run on regular. The fuel just doesn't match the machine. Here's what really gets me. Antarctica DID have apex marine predators for millions of years. Ancient leopard seals were even larger. Prehistoric killer whales ruled these waters, but they all evolved for this ecosystem with this prey base. Atlas didn't. His DNA carries 4 million years of Arctic specialization, and you can't rewrite that in 2 weeks. Why the poles never met. Now let's zoom out and blow your mind even more. Why didn't polar bears and penguins ever naturally encounter each other? It's not just distance, it's when. When Antarctica froze over 34 million years ago, there were no polar bears yet. When polar bears evolved 600,000 years ago, continental drift had already separated the poles by impossible distances. Even during ice ages, when sea levels dropped and land bridges appeared, the poles never connected. The tropics remained an uncrossable barrier for Arctic specialists. It's like evolution ran 2 completely separate experiments. Northern experiment: create a massive predator that rules frozen oceans. Southern experiment: create diverse marine predators for frozen continents. Both experiments worked perfectly in their own labs. But you can't just swap the results. The failed Save China's Tigers project in Africa taught us this exact lesson. You can't force 2 million years of Asian forest evolution to work in African savanna. Those tigers died because ecosystems aren't interchangeable. Same with Atlas. We dropped Arctic perfection into Antarctic reality, and biology doesn't care about your survival story. It cares about millions of years of adaptation. Day 21. Atlas lies on the ice, barely moving. His body has consumed almost all its fat reserves. His organs are beginning to shut down from starvation and hypothermia. The Antarctic wind howls around him. He didn't lose to the leopard seal. He didn't lose to the penguins. Atlas lost to Antarctica itself. Here's what this simulation really taught me. Being an apex predator isn't about being the toughest. It's about being perfectly matched to your specific arena. The polar bear rules the Arctic because every molecule of his DNA evolved for those exact conditions. Antarctica belongs to leopard seals, orcas, and penguins. Not because they're better than polar bears, but because they're Antarctic specialists. And that's why there are no polar bears in Antarctica. Not because they couldn't get there, although geography definitely helped, but because even if they did, they'd be fighting a losing battle against an ecosystem that evolved without them. What do you think? Could polar bears ever adapt to Antarctic life over thousands of generations? Or is the divide just too fundamental? Drop your theories in the comments. And if this kind of extreme biological analysis gets your blood pumping, smash that subscribe button. I've got more predator simulations coming that are going to absolutely wreck your understanding of apex predators. I'm Patrick. This is Patrick's Arena. And remember, evolution doesn't create the strongest. It creates the perfectly adapted.